Hi, my name is Kevin Muiderman, and I'm a guitar maker here in North Dakota. And I recently made a series of travel instruments for John Doyle, including a couple of small-bodied Irish Bouzouki's and a thin-line guitar. I then, because I don't really play Bouzouki, decided to make one for myself, because John promised if I did, he'd help me learn how to play it. So here's that instrument. This is almost a copy of the ones that I made for John. It has a little bit bigger body, though. John suggested that I actually make a more normal size one for myself. So it's about 2 inches bigger across than the one I made for John, but it's the same woods. It's got Ziricote back and sides, and it has Sinker Redwood for the top. The top is ultra-lightweight, super thin redwood top with graphite composite bracing, so that the top is absolutely stable. There's no collapse in that top because of the composite bracing on the inside.
Hello, my name is John Doyle. I'm going to show you a few instruments that Kevin Muiderman has made for me that I commissioned, and he's built kind of on spec pretty much. The first one here is the last one that he's built for me, and it's a Bouzouki, long-necked Bouzouki. I have another one of his which I'll show you as well, which is one of the first ones that he made, which is a guitar-bodied Bouzouki, which is one of my most favorite instruments. In fact, it might be my favorite instrument. It's such a beautiful thing. But I needed to have a very particular, different sound that's more of a kind of a mid-range, kind of a more Bouzouki sounding. And so I thought that if I could find something like that, or I could get something made that had that particular mid-range, and also that was a little bit easier to travel with. And because we, as musicians, we travel a lot with expensive instruments, and sometimes the airlines like to damage them, and it just happens that way. And sometimes it's not airlines; it's whatever damage can occur. And so this is a long neck Bouzouki with basically a smaller pot, or I don't know, that's a banjo term, but a smaller body to have a more focused Bouzouki sound, or mid-range, mid-tone. So I didn't need to have all of these low tones on it. Sometimes they get in the way.
So in particular, this instrument, he asked for a small body, mostly for traveling, but wanted one that had still a big tone. And I thought using composite materials, which I often use for instruments, and an ultra-lightweight top. So a solid top with composite bracing, we could get a small body but with big tone, and even a fair amount of bass, at least in the range of an Irish Bouzouki. So the body width is only 11.5 inches, and even though Bouzouki's don't have a standard size, they're often anywhere from 14 to 15 inches in width. So this is a lot smaller, and it's only about 3¼ inches in depth. So with all that in mind, usually you'd end up with an instrument that had a fairly choked sound, maybe not a lot of volume, and certainly pretty isolated in that kind of high mid-range. But this one has a broad range. The top on this too is Sinker Redwood, so it's kind of a different material than most Bouzouki's are used to. But altogether, it gets a really warm, large sound.
So this is what it sounds like here. You see the low range, it still has nice full sound, but it doesn't have, it doesn't need a low bass, because it doesn't doesn't go below that kind of 80 hertz. And it has a very clean tone. Now with this this type of bouzouki, I'd be playing it a little bit different than my guitar bouzouki, in a way that I'd use a capo more often in this, kind of like rather in the way that. So for E minor. And what's really nice about this, you can go up to the 5th or 7th, and you know you still have a good range.
So even though this instrument has a fairly small body, it has a fairly long neck. It's 26 inches, which is about the length of a regular long scale Irish Bouzouki. And so because John plays in so many ranges and capos a lot, essentially making this long scale instrument into, let's say, a mandola or even up to a mandolin range, it has 24 frets, 24 usable frets up to the sound hole, and that allows him to be able to use it for all kinds of situations, either getting that longer scale bass sound or going up as high as, say, a mandolin in those higher ranges if need be for any given session or recording.
So you have this kind of lovely sounds in all of these particular areas, and it gives you this, like, especially when recording, and you know, if you're in a situation where you need to have a high sound pretty quick, you can kind of move up. So you have one instrument that's doing a lot of the work, if you know what I mean. Going from here, you know, it's gone out of tune, of course, but so that's the general idea of it, you know. And so I think he's made a fine instrument here. It's such a beautiful sounding instrument, beautifully made. He can tell you more about the different materials in it, of course. And so there you go. I can't even remember how many frets there are on this. It goes up, there's a lot of frets. And it still packs quite a lot of a punch, you know. For such a small body. And it's a pretty small body compared to a lot of the Bouzoukis, you know. This is more in the range of where Doyle would have his Bouzoukis. Maybe he's a little bit bigger, but he kind of, I think he has the same idea, which is kind of have that mid-range punch. Because a guitar gets that lower range, and mandolin gets a middle range, you know. So there you go. This is the long-necked Bouzouki, the smaller body.
So John, I can't thank you enough for, over the years, letting me work with you to make all these instruments. The things you've asked for have driven me way beyond any designs, models, ideas that I would have had. So thanks, John.